عذرا بيروت.
Good afternoon. You're watching the English newscast on Future Television. I'm Yumna Nofad, and these are today's top stories. Cabinet convenes amid sharp differences between its members on its working mechanism and the appointment of high-ranking security and military officials. Turkey is set to begin combating ISIS militants inside Syria. Its foreign minister vowed as he met U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry. In a webcast, Israel's Benjamin Netanyahu asks American Jews to oppose the Iran nuclear deal, saying it will trigger a nuclear race in the Middle East. Cabinet convened today amid sharp differences between its members on the working mechanism and the appointment of high-ranking security and military officials. Sources close to Prime Minister Tamam Salam refused to draw possible scenarios during the session. The sources told Jamhuriya Daily that at the start of the session, Salam reiterated the importance of electing a new president, making an assessment of the security and economic situation. But, however, Defense Minister Samir Muqbil stressed that he would abide by laws and regulations if the cabinet failed to agree on appointments. Meanwhile, Energy Minister Arthur Nazarian warned there is no quick solution to the electricity problem in Lebanon. The major challenges to the electricity sector, as pointed out by Nazarian, are an accumulation of power failures, a massive heat wave, electricity theft, and obstacles in building new power plants, as well as an increase in power consumption due to the presence of nearly 1.5 million Syrian refugees in the country. And so Prime Minister Salam promised during the session that the prolonged waste management crisis will end within a few days. The Prime Minister stressed that a solution will crystallize within 2 to 3 days regarding the waste problem. Information Minister Ramzi Jrej, on his part, said in a news conference following the meeting at the Grand Sarai that those solutions would then be presented to the Ministerial Waste Committee for approval. Jrej said Salam emphasized that strenuous efforts are being made to address the crisis, and one of the options being studied is to export waste abroad. The Prime Minister also announced that bidding for waste incinerators will be launched in August. Reading from the Cabinet's official statement. Turkey is to begin combating ISIS militants inside northern Syria, according to its foreign minister. He vowed as he met U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry in Malaysia. The foreign minister, named Mevlut Cavusoglu, told reporters at the start of the meeting with Kerry, using the Arab acronym for the militant group. The two envoys met at a hotel in Kuala Lumpur on the sidelines of a regional security gathering hosted by the 10-member Association of Southeast Asian Nations. Washington has long been pushing its historic ally Turkey to step up the fight against ISIS, something Ankara has until recently been reluctant to do. That position changed after deadly attacks inside Turkey, some of which were blamed on ISIS. Turkey has since carried out a series of airstrikes claiming they were targeting militants from the Kurdistan's Worker Party in northern Iraq, as well as ISIS. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is trying to rally American Jews against the Iranian nuclear deal championed by President Barack Obama and facing review by Congress, saying it risks a catastrophic Middle East war. In a webcast organized by Jewish groups in North America, Netanyahu reiterated Israel's arguments that the July 14 deal was not enough to curb Iranian nuclear projects with bomb-making potential, while bringing Tehran a windfall in sanctions relief that could help fund destabilizing regional conflicts. With surveys showing American Jewish opinion mixed on a dispute that has strained the U.S.-Israeli alliance, Netanyahu cast his opposition to the Iran deal as nonpartisan. He also pushed back against the Obama administration's counter-argument that the deal was the only way to avoid eventual war with Iran. Organizers said 10,000 people, not taking into account expected group audiences, had signed up to view the webcast. Coming up next, Muppets news, something to be sad about and something else to cheer for. Stay with us, we'll be right back. Welcome back. You're watching the 4:20 o'clock news on Future Television. Pro-government forces pursued fleeing Houthi fighters in South Yemen, military sources are saying, as they look to press recent gains against the rebels, including the retaking of a key airbase. Soldiers loyal to exiled President Abdurrabbu Mansour Hadi wrested control of Al-Anad airbase in Lahj province, one of Yemen's largest military facilities, from the Houthis, and later advanced to take provincial capital Houta. Military and medical sources says that at least 39 rebels and 17 fighters had been killed since Tuesday around Houta, which had been in Houthi hands since March. The recapture of Al-Anad is a major boost for the defense of second city Aden and paves the way for a possible return by the exiled government to the southern port, which was its last refuge before it fled into exile in neighboring Saudi Arabia back in March. And in India, at least 27 people killed when two passenger trains derailed after flash floods struck a bridge they were crossing. Rescuers searched throughout the night for passengers trapped in the trains that toppled after a surge of water from a nearby rain-swollen river struck the tracks. The Kamani Express, traveling from the financial city of Mumbai, derailed just minutes after a surge of water from the Mashak River sank the tracks on a small bridge. The Janata Express, coming the other way from the eastern city of Patna to Mumbai, crossed shortly after. Passengers said they were thrown awake by the falling carriages, which quickly filled with muddy water. Monsoon rains have hit large swathes of the country in recent weeks, flooding rivers and roads and claiming 180 lives, mainly in western and eastern India. United States President Barack Obama hosted the first ever White House Demo Day as he marked his 54th birthday. He said as a birthday treat to himself, he thought he would invite business leaders, investors, and government officials. Prior to the news conference, Obama took a tour as exhibitors displayed their new ideas, inventions, and startups. Obama compared the exhibitors he hosted to Edison, Jobs, and Gates, adding that this is what America is all about. This comes, of course, as Obama said that the world has to step up to help combat climate change, and added that the UN would continue to press other countries to take action.
As we celebrate the 70th anniversary of the United Nations, we can take great satisfaction in the success of the institution in resolving conflicts, in moving forward through its agencies on a whole range of development issues that are helping vulnerable peoples around the world. At the same time, we are in a period in which the demands placed, the burdens on the United Nations have never been greater. At the top of our list was the urgency of a world response to the threat of climate change. And the Secretary General has been a consistent champion of a concerted, unified global response to the issue. I shared with him the work that we are doing in the United Nations so that we can be a leader in addressing this critical, perhaps the critical issue that faces humankind going forward, and explained how through our power plant rule, through the work we're doing on renewable energies and so forth, that we're in a position now to meet the very aggressive targets that we're putting forward in preparation for the Paris conference. We need Paris to be a success, and the world has to step up in a concerted way on behalf of our children and future generations.
Kermit the Frog and Miss Piggy are off again, but their latest television series, a mockumentary-styled sitcom, The Muppets, will go on. The pair confirmed their breakup at a biannual ABC panel for TV critics. Now, while Piggy appeared at the panel, she did not join Kermit for the one-on-one video interviews that followed, leaving her former partner carrying the whole promotional load for the new series, which will go behind the scenes of another one called Up Late with Miss Piggy. The Muppets debuts in the U.S. the 22nd of September on ABC.
Everybody, can I have your attention? I have some really great news. ABC wants to put on an all-new primetime series starring the Muppets.
Well, it's a long story. I'll give you the short version. I was executive producing a show for Miss Piggy called Up Late with Miss Piggy. We did have a number of possible titles for that show that we went through. We started out with Don't Look Now, It's Miss Piggy. Oh No, It's Miss Piggy. The Late Miss Piggy. None of them seemed to work, so we went with Up Late. It's a late night talk show on after Kimmel sometime in the wee hours. And then ABC came along and said, we would like to have unfettered access to shoot the behind the scenes. And I said, I'm not quite sure what unfettered means, but somehow we figured it out.
How about we film the series in that crazy handheld documentary style and have cutaways to one-on-one interviews?
Cut to interviews? That is just a totally overused device to make easy jokes. You know, talking to the camera about how you really feel and then cutting back and saying something completely different. I just hate that. I love it. Great device.
We sort of are a modern family living in the middle in an office. It happens. All of that is true. But I will say that, you know, most of those shows don't have any pigs. I mean, I don't think they do. Maybe they do. Maybe they're filled with pigs. But no, you know, I mean, the truth is that with a show like, you know, a show like that, like The Office, it's not real, you see, because Steve Carell is an actor. And you're not following Steve Carell, you're following a character that he plays, you see?
I miss the Muppets. This marks the end of our bulletin for today. Now for a reminder of our headlines. The Cabinet convenes amid sharp differences between its members on its working mechanism, the waste management crisis, and the electricity problem. Turkey is to begin combating ISIS militants inside Syria, its foreign minister vows as he meets U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry in Malaysia. And in a webcast, Israel's Netanyahu asks American Jews to oppose Iran nuclear deal, saying it will trigger a nuclear race in the Middle East. Those are your headlines for this Wednesday. Have a nice day, and we'll see you again tomorrow.